This is a guide for the Six Jad challenge. It's my hope that this guide will make it easier for you. I have only ever been able to do the Six Jad challenge in leagues. Even in leagues, I found this content extremely difficult. So don't worry if it takes you a while to overcome. Just make sure to send a few attempts a day. The first thing that you're going to want to master is to one-tick flick a Jad. I'll now show you how I learned to one-tick flick a Jad attack. Come into the one Jad challenge, or the first Jad challenge. It's back to the body, turn it on. It's back to the body, turn it on. And it's back to the body, turn it on. Wait for the stomp animation to complete. Wait for the stomp animation to complete. So there's like lines around Jad's feet after the stomp. And that's what I'm looking for specifically. The other thing I did is I ran around like this and practiced that one tick flick. The last thing I'll say about learning and practicing this is you really want to only have the prayer on for one tick. You need to have that mastered. There's one tile I come to at the beginning of every Six Jad challenge. In the comments of this video, you should see a comment that looks like this. You're going to want to copy all of this, come back into RuneLite, right click the world map, select import, and now you'll have the Six Jad tile. So the first thing we do is we come over to the Six Jad tile. Wait for the first animation to complete, and then we start switching. Everything has to be tick perfect here. So the Six Jad tile is nice because that allowed us to block a healer. Please note, I like attacking the northern Jad to begin, then killing them counterclockwise, meaning I'll then target the northwestern Jad, and then the western, so on and so forth. This is the easiest in my opinion because you don't have to move the camera around too much or move around until the end. You're mostly just focusing on your protection prayers and tagging healers. Doing it this way will also be extremely helpful to you if you go for "it wasn't a fluke" combat achievement. The other really great thing about doing it this way is we increase the break we get at the start. You get a 2-tick break at the start between the northern Jad and the northwestern Jad. It's where you'll want to perform all of your actions. This is the most difficult thing to master in here, is performing actions in this 2-tick window. That's why we take that 2-tick window and turn it to 3 ticks after the northern Jad is defeated. We then increase that 3-tick window to 4 ticks by defeating the northwestern Jad. So now I'd like to explain my thought process, kind of what's happening to me mentally. I'm keeping a mental note of all of the attacks, and I'm looking for the visual indicators to change protection prayers. I'm basically looking at 2 places at once. For example, there's going to be 3 range attacks in this cycle. I then notice a mage attack. Once I notice that mage attack, I wait for Jad's hands to go back to his body, so that way I can switch to my mage protection. Once I know that I'm protected, I change my weapon, start trying to pay attention to the beginning of the cycle and going for tags. There's a lot that you have to do. I'm not thinking when I'm observing, is the important thing I want to say. I'm not thinking when I'm observing. I'm thinking the most about if the prayer is going to be correct or not. I'm simply observing what's ahead. I'm not thinking mage, range, mage. I'm just observing, and it's going into my mind somehow. And it's very hard to describe, but most of my focus is on getting the correct prayer right for the Jad that I'm currently trying to pray against. I'm simply observing what's ahead. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm not eternalizing it. I'm just kind of feeling it, you know? It's very hard to describe. Like I don't have 2 thoughts going through my mind. Now's a good time to mention that I could not do the leagues only Jad challenge last leagues. Neither could I do the combat achievement "it wasn't a fluke." That's the combat achievement to complete 5 Jads and then 6 Jads without dying. Those 2 things seem so impossible to me, but I was able to improve over 1 year's time in the Echo League to make this possible. What I'm trying to say is, if it seems impossible right now, it might not be like that in the future. You just can't give up. Okay, we've made it to 4 Jads in this run. Things have gotten quite a bit easier. If you make it this far, you can definitely finish. You can definitely complete the 6 Jad challenge. The few things that might be holding you back is possibly endurance or lag or maybe nerves. Those are just things you'll have to work on, but you can definitely overcome them. That's about all the pointers I have for this. I tried using metronome and playing with sounds on, but that wasn't helpful for me personally. It might be for you. I'll show you my deaths for each challenge and that type of thing. I'd definitely be curious about that as a viewer. One final thing before we move on is I did have to cut this down because I wanted this to be a short video, and these are somewhat long runs, even if it's in leagues, because I don't have the best of the best stuff. We didn't have a last stand proc, but we did mess up quite a bit. You'll definitely mess up in your runs too, likely. You just gotta go for those recoveries, and hopefully luck is on your side. So the TzHaar-Ket-Rak league's only challenge, it took me a lot of deaths. Took me 109 personal deaths. Let's see here. The Six Jad challenge, I have 7 completions and I died 432 times to complete all of the combat achievements in league. So, like I said, this is difficult. If you found this video helpful, please consider commenting, liking, and subscribing. Thanks for your time. You have a wonderful day. Bye.